It's me, Vicki Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm based in Spain, in Europe. It is 11:42 por la mañana in the morning. As I'm making this video, I'm on my second coffee of the day. Been doing a lot of YouTubing this morning, a lot of recording videos for my Spanish channel because I am a Spanish teacher, for those of you who don't know. So I was catching up on a few videos to put up on there because, the sort of true crime, etc. has taken over a little bit and I don't get my Spanish videos done very often. Anyway, first of all, thank you. Thank you to everyone for watching. Primarily, that is the most important thing you can do for my channel, is to actually watch the videos. And then, people who like the videos, thank you so much. That's an extra thing you can do that's free. Subscribe, of course, is free. And then I have my members. I'm eternally grateful to my members. They are the mainstay of my channel. Thank you so much. Every Thursday we have an exclusive members live stream. So why not think about becoming a member and join us next Thursday, I should say. Who else? Oh, so thank you so much. Lots of people buy me Ko-fis, or send super stickers or PayPal me. People send me nice emails and leave nice comments. These are all ways you support my channel, make it all worthwhile doing the channel. So thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to take my banner off now. In this video, just to let you know what we're going to talk about in this video, we're going to talk about Madeleine. We haven't spoken about Madeleine for a little while. We're waiting for these trials to come up, Stephan Stern's trials. That's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a new phone call that we haven't listened to before between Stephan Stern and his parents. So, but before I get onto that, I just want to say hello to all you lurkers at home, all you watching who don't like to join in the chat, which is fair enough. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it so much. Thank you to those of you who will be watching this on replay crew. If you can't make the live, you can always watch it afterwards. And now I'm going to go into the chat and see who is brave enough to venture into the chat. Say hello to them before we get going properly with the video. Good morning, or it'd be good afternoon for you or good evening, will it be in Australia? Hi, Sheep Farming. Hi, Mello. Hi, Annie. Hi, Bluebell. Hi, Claire R. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Annie. Annie's praising my hair. Thank you. Well, that's a total accident, I can assure you. I did brush it just before it came on. Yes, safe drive, Annie. I hope you can manage to listen. It's very interesting, this. I think you'll be interested in listening. Now, first of all, I have to give credit to the person who has released this video, and it's really quite funny. This is another YouTube channel. Let me just I need to go to the YouTube channel. So this YouTube channel is called Plunder. I don't know if you have ever watched any of Plunder's videos. Let's have a look about Plunder. Paula Mooney. It's a good YouTube channel. I rarely watch it, and it's not any offense to Plunder. I rarely watch any YouTube channels. I do occasionally, but I just, honestly, I'm normally sort of, churning out YouTube myself, if you like, doing my YouTube channel. And unless I can just put something on in the background, it's rare for me to be able to watch other YouTube channels. But I have watched Paula occasionally. And what I'm very impressed with Paula, I don't think she does lives, but she's very good at editing videos. The videos The edits on the videos are very, they're good videos to watch. But the only problem with that is, for me, is I need something that I can just put on in the background normally. But anyway, it's a good channel. Think about subscribing. It's a true crime channel. She gets a lot of, she writes off for a lot of information, tape scripts, freedom of information stuff. And yeah, give her a subscribe, give her a try, see if you enjoy her channel or not. And anyway, it's quite funny, this video that she's released, because she's actually mentioned in it. And so this is a phone call between Stephan and his parents, Chris and, gosh, what's her name? It'll come to me in a minute. Fruit Loop, as I call her. Bless her. I shouldn't say that, because I have been recently feeling a little bit sorry for Stephan Stearns' parents, because they're getting older now and they've got to cope with all this, and it's grim, isn't it? It's never going to have a good outcome. Sometimes they get on my nerves because they're so selfish about the way they don't really seem to care about Madeline Soto very much, do they? It's all about Stephan and them, and how it's affecting them, how it's affecting Stephan, etc. So that irritates me. But just on a human level, as they're two elderly people who have now found out that their son is a monster, whether they want to admit it or not. The other thing that is irritating, see, all my sympathies flooding out the door at the moment when I think about, because of course they blame Jen for everything. They blame Jen and her family for everything. Say, even bringing the family into it, Jen's family, saying they're covering it all up, and it can't be their little Stephan. He hasn't killed her. Of course he hasn't. It's all to do with everybody else. So sometimes it do irritate me that they cannot accept that their little Johnny might have, little Stephan, as it turned, might have done anything wrong. So anyway, this is Plunder, and in this video, this telephone conversation that we're going to listen to, you will hear Chris refer to her as Blunder. So, it's like, and she laughs at it because and she said it's not the first time her channel's ever been called Blunder. It's like when anyone makes a sarcastic joke to you about something, do they really think that's the first time that they've ever, that joke has ever been made? Any of her critics will have probably called her Blunder over the years. I'm sure she's got thick skin, like most YouTubers. If you haven't got thick skin, you can't be on YouTube, because not everybody's going to say nice things about you. So, yeah, he actually refers to her YouTube channel. And it's quite funny with Chris Stearns, because he always says, and he'll say it again here, he always says, I don't watch it. I don't watch these channels. He always says he doesn't watch them, but I think he does. I think he watches all of them. So yeah, I definitely think he does. Hi, David. Oh, Annie. Thank you, Annie. That's so kind. That is so much appreciated. It's been a funny week, as you know, so very good. You just dipped on Plunder to watch me. Was I on Plunder? I'm not on. I'm getting confused now. Don't confuse me, Melo. It's too easy to confuse me. You dipped on Plunder to watch me. Oh, you were on Plunder and then you came over to watch me. Oh, yeah. Oh, she might be watching. She might be watching. No, I mean, yeah. Oh, gosh, I've got that little button now. When somebody... I've got a little button that I forget. I'm rubbish, aren't I? See, this is what I do like about Plunder's videos, and that she's really good at editing and all that technical stuff that I'm really crap at. Thank you, Annie, for the Ko-fi. Thank you. Look, I have got this little thank you button now, though. Do it again. Yeah, I'm going to do some more buttons when I get time. It's on the list. It's on the list. But thank you so much, Annie. That's really appreciated. Oh, I got to use my thank you button for a Ko-fi donation. Thank you. So, of course, can't get back on where I was now. Hi, Tracy. The love doll. What's the love doll? David, believe it or not, they do bring up, can you believe it? Even Stephan brings up the poodle ambulance in this call. Hi, Daniel. Now, so yeah, so go and give Plunder a subscribe. She's got loads of subscribers, actually. So she's obviously popular. She has 208,000 subscribers. So she's been obviously very popular, and she's got Patreon. And she quite often sends off for these documents. Now, I could just send off for this phone call myself, probably. But I wanted to talk about it today. But I probably will still send off for it so that I can release it without any interruptions. Because I know that some people don't like the commentary. Some people like to watch and listen to these calls all together so that we can comment. Other people don't, and that's fair enough. We've all got our preferences. So we're going to watch this on Plunder's channel.
Chris is like, we don't expect to see that until true crime.
Yes. Oh, yeah. She used that.
Now, Plunder herself does commentary on this, but no offence to her if she's watching, which probably she's not. I'm sure she's too busy to go watch it, though I have linked, that I've, because it's fair use. So I want to give her credit for it. I am going to, just as we go along, cut out her commentary, and that's no offence to her. It's just we'll be doing our own commentary. But if you want to watch the sort of video with Paula's commentary or Plunder or Blunder's commentary, I mean, it has tickled me that, as it's tickled her, because Chris is definitely being snarky when he says blunder. He's definitely having a little pop at Paula there, but she is interested in her comments that she makes, but otherwise it gets too long, what with her commentary and my commentary, and what you guys are saying. So I probably will cut out most of hers. I might leave we'll just see how it goes. Right, so let's go to the beginning. So she starts with this, which reminds me, actually, let's light a candle for Madeline. Look at her little face. Do you know, there's some photos that we'll see as we go along here, and the size of Madeline, how tiny she was, really. Though I know, she was 13 by the time that she was taken from this world, but I just hope she's at peace, that little girl. I hope she's in the arms of angels, because we must never forget that behind all this is the death of this little girl, the abuse over years and the death of this little girl. That's the crux of this matter, isn't it? That's what's at there, and that's what also makes it so, when you listen, sometimes you listen to these conversations and it's sort of almost comical, isn't it? But when you think to what's really at the bottom of all this, and the reason that any of these conversations are happening, which is the abuse and death of this little girl, when that comes back into your head, just seems even more ridiculous, the conversations that they're having, Sorry, I didn't know that, Mello. Did you see that on Plunder? Or so apparently Debbie said she found stuff. Do you know what I mean? Some things are sort of comical, but they're not comical, really. But I suppose if you didn't laugh, you really would cry. I mean, it's just got what's the word? Just shows, doesn't it, that I'm glad Stephan has been humiliated. Let's put it that way, because Stephan humiliated this little girl for years. with those pictures and videos that he took, that he's trying to get removed as evidence. That's something else that I haven't even got around to saying yet. So Stephan is trying to get the videos and the phone calls that were taken off his phone. He's trying to, or him and his defense team are trying to remove them as evidence. I mean, for God's sake, because they're trying to say that the police officer who asked if he would give up his phone did not say to him, you know, what they would be doing with it or whatever, and should have had a search warrant. But Stephan gave up his phone voluntarily because he'd done 2 bloody factory resets on it, and he thought he'd got rid of the evidence, didn't he? So anyway, I think that's been rejected, or maybe it's not quite finished yet. That I need to look into that. I've seen it. There's been so many things going on lately. I've just seen it on the periphery of everything else. So I need to look into that a bit more closely. But bloody hell, you know, so I'm glad Stephan Stearns has been humiliated, that his mum's found the sex doll in his room. I'm glad that the whole world practically saw his button mushroom, or near as, damn it. I'm glad he was humiliated. He deserves to be humiliated, because he humiliated this. You know, they can't complain about videos and people talking about, how dare they? How dare they complain about YouTube channels? You know, or, you know, when you think of the scale of things, you know, he can complain about Plunder or any other YouTube channel as much as he wants, but Plunder hasn't abused and murdered allegedly a young girl. You know, so how did they get all sniffy and get on their high horse about YouTubers? And look at yourselves. Look at your own family and what your family's done. Never mind bloody criticising YouTubers. YouTubers won't be interested in you if your son wasn't a monster. God. Anyway. Perhaps he's got a puncture repair kit. Do you think he's got a puncture repair kit? Oh, dear me. Yeah, well, do you know what, Mello? Maybe it wasn't Stephan's. Maybe it was Chris's. And Chris just pretend. I mean, the good thing for Chris now is if what's her name? Debbie, yeah, if she ever finds anything suspect in the house or on the computer or whatever, Chris will just go, oh, it must have been Stephan. Must have been Stephan. Of course it must have been Stephan. So he can blame everything on Stephan now. Oh, bless Maddie. So what does she start off with here? Oh, yeah, Chris said, oh, yeah, she used that. One of these people, Blunder or somebody, YouTuber, had information to dig up information about when your mum and I had our issues 20 or 30 years ago, and brought that up. Her clickbait headline said $3,700 lawsuit. Some creditors sued you, so they just taking everything from everything and trying to make something of it when nothing exists. Now he's really annoyed, Chris, when he's saying this. You'll when you hear his voice, he is really angry because, and you know, I sort of see what he means. I mean, this is something that was an issue in their marriage 20, 30 years ago, but see, something that Plunder brings up as well throughout this video, and I think is true. People keep talking about, oh, this is leaked or things are leaked. None of it is leaked. These are public records that YouTubers can't get. They can't get information that's not in the public domain. You know, you can't send off. You couldn't send off for Chris for private messages between Chris and Debbie, or between Stephan and Chris, etc. You're sending off for public records. They're records in the public domain. You know, they're not secrets. They're in the public domain. And if YouTubers send off either Freedom of Information Act or whatever they do it under, they're entitled to do that. And these are not leaks. Nobody's selling the information, unless the police are. Sometimes you have to pay something, though I've not had to pay anything yet for anything that I got from Stephan, as far as Stephan Stearns' case is concerned. You know, all the phone calls that I did get and the photos and the body cams and things like that, I haven't had to pay for them. Sometimes Plunder says she's had to pay for them, so if she's had to pay for them, she's had to pay for them. But you know, but what I'm trying to say is they're not leaked. Yeah, they're public information. Anyone can apply for those records, not just YouTubers, not just Plunder, not just me. Not anyone can. So, you know, this is the way it works in America. I don't think it'd be the same here. I say here, I don't even know how it works in Spain. But I think in Britain, I think it's more secretive. I'm not sure. But yeah, so we have got a Freedom of Information Act in Britain. But anyone who's ever tried to get any information from it, you'll know that you never get it. I mean, that Freedom of Information Act in Britain, it's just a placebo. It's just a lip service. They don't release anything because you ask for it. You know, they release what they feel like asking for. Whereas in America, they do. They do release. They are transparent. Well, some states are more transparent than others, of course. Florida is very, very transparent. So I just want to say that before we go. These are not leaks. This call was not leaked. It's an official call that was asked for and provided under the Freedom of Information Act. Okay, so right, let's carry on. I knew this was going to be a bit of a mad one, but you know what? It's like, anyway, let's listen to it, because when you listen to it, just unbelievable.
Clickbait headline says, you know, $3,700 lawsuit, you know, some creditor suing you. So, you know, they're just taking everything and everything and trying to make something of it when nothing exists. You know, but supposedly calling you a mama's boy and what have you. So it's quite a circus. I don't watch any of it. I just, people just tell me about it. I don't bother with it because it's all bullshit.
Yeah, so somebody called you a mama's boy and Stephan just laughed. No, most boys are mama's boys, I think, you know, to be honest. But I don't think he's just a mama's boy. I mean, his dad is just as bad. The pair of them just make excuses for him continually. So I don't think it's about him being a mama's boy. How many boys out there aren't mama's boys, really? You know, that's normally they are. You know, that's just a fact of life, really, isn't it? You know, just like girls can be daddy's girls or whatever. You know, that's not that doesn't mean somebody's a monster because they're a mama's boy. But I think his problem is a mama's and a daddy's boy. You know, neither of them have made him take responsibility ever. But Stephan just laughed, didn't he?
Well, hey, I am a mama's boy anyway. I've never been ashamed of that.
Yeah, I am a mama's boy anyway. I've never been ashamed of that. And you shouldn't be ashamed of it, you know, at the end of the day. But, you know, just some, you know, it's one thing to be a mama's boy. But when you get into 40 and the thing with Stephan that gives me the creeps is not so much about him, well, apart from all the horrible things he's done, it's not so much about him being a mama's boy. It's the way he's never grown up. You know, I think all of us, you know, and I think about my parents, they never treated me like I was older than 15, really, you know, right up to when they died. But I mean, I was only 33 when they died. But the thing is about Stephan, it's the toys he plays with, you know, apart from the blow up doll. I didn't know about that. Oh, God, I can't even think about it. But it's all the toys in his room. So all the toys in his room were either SEX toys or children's toys, basically. His room was like a teenager's bedroom, and he was nearly 40 years old. So to me, that's more concerning than him being a mummy's boy. Most boys, most mums will treat their boys, and probably all their kids, but it can be there can be a bit of that thing between a mum and a son in that. But that's common, I think. I think more worrying in Stephan's case is all these childlike toys he had in his room. That to me is like really creepy for a man of his age to still be, acting like a teenager.
No, I'm just kidding. Stephan Stearns' dad is not the first person to nickname this channel Blunder. So, just like people call Ellen DeGeneres degenerate. And she's like, people have been calling me that since the 4th grade. You're not saying anything new. Anyway,
Well, I don't like the analogy with Ellen DeGeneres because I can't stand Ellen DeGenerate or whatever. So I don't like that analogy because I'm sure Plunder is a much nicer person than Ellen DeGeneres. But I don't know if you know about Ellen DeGeneres. She left America. Do you know who she is? Anyway, she's a horrible person. Never liked her. I always felt she was a horrible person. Then it came out that she actually is a horrible person. And then, of course, when Trump came in, apparently she emigrated to Britain because she said she couldn't live there under Trump because, she is in a civil partnership with her wife. Apparently now she doesn't like Britain anymore. It's too hard. Life's too hard in Britain. So God knows where she's going to go next. I just hope she doesn't come to Spain. That's all I can say. We don't want Ellen DeGeneres here in Spain. But I see what Plunder's saying. She's been called Blunder a million times before. So it's not exactly a big thing, is it? Why am I looking at Stephan Stearns' nipples, Blunder?
This call has made me laugh out loud in some parts, and other parts, it's just horrible. I've got to tell you how I got this call, first of all. I've been trying literally for like almost 5 months. Since January, thank God the good people of Florida finally sent it to me.
Yeah, I'm going to have to fast forward a little bit because it's only and also I can't be looking at Stephan Stearns' body anymore. Let's go on fast forward to the next time the call comes on. It's not, sorry, Plunder, it's not, it's not that I don't want to look at you. You're a nice looking person and everything, but I just can't look at Stephan's nipples. Right, so what about this? So then when it comes to this bit, apparently Stephan said some other things I wanted to ask. So you said that Jen went to the mental hospital. Whatever happened with, and then something that was redacted. Let's see if we can listen to that.
I don't know what's happening. We don't know how to get a hold of anybody.
I see.
She go into the mental institution away from her.
Is institutionalized herself. So.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. What you said that was what, to keep the cops off of her?
Yeah, so Chris says that Jen has institutionalized herself. Now, don't forget, this call is from the 10th of April last year. That doesn't mean to say that Jen is still institutionalized. Nobody knows anything about Jen. It's all been very quiet about Jen. I know a lot of people are annoyed that Jen has not been arrested or charged with anything, but she hasn't, and that's all there is to it. Whether she's still in the institution, I don't know. Yeah. So Chris is telling him that Jen. Now, bearing in mind now that we'll see in this call that Chris not only is aware that it's being recorded and monitored by the prison, he's now suddenly coming in, suddenly realizing that what he says in these calls can be released under he's calling it leaked. He's suddenly realizing that these calls are leaked as well, and so not only what he's saying is being heard by the prison administration, they're being heard by people like us all over the world on the internet, and I think that'll be a big blow for Chris. because he's a private person. He's I suppose you're always aware when he's talking to Stephan on the phone that he's aware that the prison are listening, because he'll say, oh, we shouldn't talk about that, or let's not talk about that. But as far as sort of personal things, as far as things about the case are concerned, he's always careful. But as far as personal things have been concerned, they've never really been careful. But I wonder what, there'll have been, of course, lots more calls since these ones we've heard that haven't been released yet, because if this was the 10th of April last year, he's not going to have not spoken on the phone, is he, to Chris in that time? But yeah, I wonder if Chris wised up to it all and realised that everything he says in these phone calls could be public knowledge. So that will have been a big blow for him.
Supposedly on the advice of her attorney.
I see. Did you guys ever get the silver Lincoln back?
Oh, he's going to talk about, I never felt anything like that before.
So then he mentions the silver Lincoln. So that's the poodle passion wagon or whatever, the poodle ambulance. So they still haven't got it back. It's with the police, apparently. Sorry, I'm going to fast forward again a little bit. So she goes on now, really, for a little while, to just talk about how she got this information. I just want to show you this picture of Jen that came. I don't know if I've seen this picture before. She has some good photos on here as well. Oh, I can't find it now. Yeah, I'm sure I must have this information. The thing is, when they made that last document dump, and it was document, audio calls, video calls, it was everything. There was so much of it. I think that's how she's found this, by going through it again. I don't know. But I still haven't been through it all. You literally would have to sit down for days to go through it all. So...
10th, 2024, around 2:53, and we don't get a date talking about Madeline. Now, at this point, that's in response, as you'll hear, to Chris saying, basically, Stephan, we don't think you killed her. We think it was a cover-up by Jen's family and all that. And then this is the point where Stephan in here also says, like they say in the documents, I'm not really sure that any one person is specifically responsible. It's probably a combination of factors that led to it.
We'll just see how all this plays out.
Oh, I'm not sure that really any one person is specifically responsible. It's probably a combination of factors that led to it, but it certainly shattered.
Joey's such a narcissist, because he says, so Chris says, we'll just see how all this plays out. And Stephan says, well, I'm not sure really that any one person is specifically responsible. Yet you are specifically responsible, Stephan. You. And then he says it's probably a combination of factors. No, it's not a combination of factors. It's you that led to it. And then he says that, and then he says, but it certainly shattered me. So he brings it all back to him, doesn't he? It shattered him. Poor Stephan. It's always poor Stephan, bringing it back to him. No word about Madeline at all. Poor Madeline. But it took, not like, I don't know, surely you could say something like, it's awful, poor Madeline, how it, never, none of them, to be honest, do that, do they? It's all about Stephan. How has it affected Stephan? Terrible.
Me.
Stephan also tells his dad, I have never felt anything like that before. It was horrible. You'll see in context coming up where Chris is going to kind of change the subject. The document also says Chris tells Stephan the truth will come out. Stephan responds, well, yeah, as if he was dodging that statement.
I mean, I just hope the truth comes out at some point.
Well, Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
says this call was
He doesn't want the full truth to come out, does he? Obviously not. Because the full truth is he is responsible. In my opinion, I think I know Jen has done daft things, and, but I don't think she was involved in Madeline's death. I really do not think that. But anyway, we'll find out sooner or later.
downloaded and submitted to evidence.com. Now, as we got the other calls, previously we've gotten 14, I believe, so this should be call number 15. Even though it's like one of the first calls, you'll see they don't really know what's going on here, what they're doing. They're going to talk about calls leaking. They're going to accuse the jailers of getting paid to leak calls, all this crazy stuff.
I'm hoping that this conversation, obviously somebody in the county jail is selling this information.
Somebody in the county jail is selling this information. No, Chris, nobody's selling the information. These are public record. Nobody's and this is the other thing that gets me. They're so and with the other calls that we listened to before, they were so sniffy, weren't they, about his friends going on YouTube channels and making things up. And then you had Stephan saying, well, don't they know that's a criminal offence? Like if he's not really in prison, probably going to get the death penalty for the terrible things he's done. Having a go at other people for doing things that, okay, might not have been, a particularly ethical thing to do, to go on a YouTube channel and talk about Stephan when he was young and putting his products into girls' drinks or the things that he did. Might not be that ethical, but it's not like what he's done. But he's so outraged about it. Oh my God, how dare they do that? He's forgotten he's sat in prison and the crimes that he's charged with. What these other people are doing are just ethically wrong. They're not against the law. I don't know.
So I'm waiting to see if these conversations surface, because as far as I know, this is supposed to be private conversation. Obviously, the jail can monitor it, but it's not supposed to be released to the public.
And they will be.
So he has no idea of how things work in America, does he? About the freedom of... He has no idea about Freedom of Information Acts and things like that, for him to say that. Maybe it's just dawning on him. And I'm sure ever since then, he's been very aware of what he's saying, even more aware than he was before.
Yeah, supposedly a redacted version of my arrest report was leaked to the public as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm not sure who's leaking all this stuff.
So he said, Stephan says, supposedly a redacted version of my arrest report was leaked. Well, Stephan, we've got news for you. It wasn't redacted. I've got that, I suppose he's wondering, has my, button mushroom been shown to the whole world? Well, yes, it has, Stephan. Wasn't redacted. You're just lucky that I didn't show it to everybody.
What sort of effect that has on all proceedings.
This is a high-profile case, and so somebody in there is looking to make a buck.
Yeah, well, I imagine this probably changed the whole process. Well,
anyway, and digging through things and putting through all.
So he's thinking that because so I imagine this changed the whole process. Is he thinking that because these things have been released, that's going to compromise his trial or anything like that? Well, no, it's not, because it's not against the law. If they're not leaks, that's the way it is.
All the FOIAs, all the previous calls we paid for, all that stuff. I was like, wait a minute, we still don't have this call. I do not remember hearing Stephan say, I've never felt anything like that before. It was horrible. Well, initially they gave us a call and they told us the wrong date. So back in January, I was like, I want the April 10th call, not the incorrectly dated May 2024 call we already have. So even though people may think we have this April 10th call, no, it's stuff we've never heard before. You know, Kissimmee police had told me, please contact the jail for a copy of this. But I was like, the jail doesn't release these recordings. I mean, it's like a chain of 17 emails here. I'll spare you the details. I'll let you listen to the call. We're going to talk about it with my commentary interspersed in between. But that's where all of the confusion lay. So
let's go forward to the actual call.
Your account balance is $46.85.
I just realized she said Stephan's account balance was $46.85 at this point.
So this was an interesting observation that she made right at the beginning, because they just said in that introduction to the call that it was his account balance was $46.85. But then Plunder says that she noticed later on, Stephan's dad said that he'd just put €100 in. Not €100, $100. So what's happened to the $54? The other $54? Just make sure. Who else is he talking to? I mean, I presume he's talking to his lawyer, to be honest, but I don't know. Who else is he talking to? I wonder if he's got some of them bloody groupies, you know, these strange people, strange women, and that and not only women, men do it, don't they? Because Gypsy Rose Blanchard, she got loads of, well, she got proposed to twice, didn't she? You know, I wonder if Stephan's got some of those groupies contacting him while he's in prison, you know, saying, oh, we know you didn't do it. Oh, you know, I mean, there's some very delusional people out there.
I don't know if that was his phone account balance or his commissary balance, but during this call, his dad, Chris, is going to tell him he had just deposited $100 on his phone account. So I'm thinking, was that all spent towards speaking to his parents or someone else? That's why I keep going for more records to get this clear.
The cost of this call will be 21 cents for the first minute and 21 cents for each additional minute, excluding taxes and other applicable fees. The time limit is 15 minutes. Press 0 to continue or you have a call at no expense to you from
Stephan Stearns,
an inmate at
Osceola County Corrections Department.
To accept this call, press or say 5. To refuse, this call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking now.
I thought we weren't going to hear from you till tomorrow.
yeah, I didn't realize that I could actually call right back after the 15 minutes was up.
So he's just obviously been on the phone to him before that. And then he said, oh, I didn't realise I could call again until after the 15 minutes were up. So I don't know where the other phone call is, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, God, I bet they thought, oh, God, thank God we don't have to speak to him again tonight. And then the next minute, the phone's ringing again.
Oh, I'm not walking, so it's just going to be you and me.
Okay, that's fine.
But Chris is answering and he's like, hello, I thought we weren't going to hear from you until tomorrow. Stearns is telling him, yeah, I didn't realize, Dad, we could call back.
Right.
You know, they're learning.
Just repeat
Tried to quickly convey those instructions to you. Did you still need me to go over that with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So at the foot of my bed, there's a bunch of my,
Right, you're still asking about this watch. You know, this watch that he's asking about. He's determined this watch is there somewhere. He's obsessed with this watch. The other thing that's good about these videos from Plunder, she's showing pictures of, I don't not saying this is the actual box that he's describing, but she's giving, I don't know if it is the actual one, or she's just shown a photo of an equivalent box. But it's good because it gives you a picture. So this is a Warhammer thing. You know, as he's trying to find this box, remember the great big purple dragon and all that, you know, everything he describes is like a toy, isn't it?
Boxes from when I moved there.
Yes.
On top of those boxes, there should be a green tin with kind of like a gold eagle on the top of it. It's like a Warhammer ammo box tin. The watch is either in there, or if it's not in there, it's going to be in one of the boxes at the foot of my bed. If you look inside, there's a Disney popcorn bucket in the shape of a Star Wars mouse droid. It's like
There's the mouse toy or mouse droid or whatever it is, the Disney, what was it? A Disney popcorn box in the shape of a mouse droid. I mean, you know, imagine a 39-year-old man having those kind of things in his house. I don't know. It's like, this just, I think, gives you a good insight into Stephan Stearns' mental sort of capacity, if you like. I really do think Stephan thought he was Madeline's boyfriend because he thinks he is that age. In his head, he is that age. You know, it's like, just listening to it, it's weird.
a little silver box with wheels on it, basically, and a brown strap. It could be in there because I put some important stuff in there. I think my social security card, birth certificate might be in there as well.
In the popcorn box.
Did you get that?
Okay, so describe this Disney pin again.
It's a mouse droid popcorn bucket that's in one of the boxes at the foot of my bed. So it's just like a little silver, little boxy looking droid with a brown strap on it. It's actually a popcorn bucket. But I use it to store some documents and stuff, or the watch might be in there if it's not in the green tin on top of the box.
Yeah, so he stores important documents. The way he says important documents, you know, like that's it. Sometimes it's all prissy, isn't it? And very sort of these important documents in my popcorn box. It's just it's like you couldn't make it up.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Some other things I wanted to ask.
Well, Stephan's saying, well, that's fine. Of course, he starts talking about this watch, this missing Omega watch once again. He's like, you'd asked me where the watch was, and I tried to quickly convey those instructions to you. Do you need me to go over that? So obviously they talked about, where's this watch? Where's this watch?
Sorry, she's just really repeating what he was saying. So I'm going to go to the next bit.
So you said that you went to the mental hospital. Whatever happened with?
I don't know what's happening. We don't know how to.
Yeah, wonder what that was. So some other things I wanted to ask you. So you said that Jen went to the mental hospital. Whatever happened with, and then whatever was redacted. So I don't know what he said there. We can't listen to that because the prison, although they do release these calls, they do redact them. So yeah, I wonder what that was.
To get a hold of anybody.
I see.
And supposedly has institutionalized himself. So.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. What you said, that was what, to keep the cops off of her?
To keep the cops off of her. Now, it could be that Jen has done that on the advice of her lawyers so that the police can't. But, you know, she can't do that forever. I mean, the thing is, if she's gone into an institution, whether she's done it to herself or whether she's been sectioned, I mean, she might have completely lost the plot. I think what we have to remember is we don't know. And Chris doesn't know 100% what's happened to Jen. So we don't know for certain. But let's suppose she did, you know, admit herself. She can't get away with that forever. You know, she'll be assessed and the police will. If the police want to talk to Jen and they're not able to talk to her because of her putting herself in an institution, you know, they'll be in regular contact with the people in the institution and asking when they can, when can they, when is she fit to speak, etc. So we don't know the full story behind that. She may have done it on purpose, herself, and she may have done it under advice of lawyers, or she may have been sectioned. I mean, we just don't know. We literally do not know. So Chris says supposedly on the advice of her attorney, and it could be, but we don't know for sure. Because don't forget, we can't look upon Chris as a reliable source because he's so anti-Jen anyway. He would believe, if Stephan did turn around and say, oh, yeah, well, actually, yeah, it was Jen that strangled Madeline, Chris would believe him. Chris would believe anything he said. So we can't take that 100% certain as true.
Supposedly on the advice of her attorney.
I see. Did you guys ever get the silver Lincoln back?
Stephan says some other things I wanted to ask. So you said that Jen went to the mental hospital. Whatever happened with redacted? Now, they did drop out Jen's name. They didn't say Jen's name here. They obviously redacted it out of this audio. That's why it takes so long by the time we send the money order and they have to go through and see what can be redacted and all that. So obviously he's talking about Jen going to the mental hospital, but I don't know who else he's asking about. And Chris says, I don't know what's happening with whatever. We don't know how to get a hold of anybody. Stephan says, I see. Chris says, and supposedly, let me know what you hear here. I don't know if he's saying, Stephan, it's the truth that Jennifer went to the mental hospital, or it's just an act. It's hard. He's outside. Maybe the audio got warped. I can't figure it out. Well, I figured it out during editing, and I heard Chris say, and supposedly Jennifer, her name is dropped out again, has gone and institutionalized herself. So that's what it sounds like Chris is saying.
And supposedly has institutionalized herself. So.
Yeah. Yeah, probably what you said, that was what, to keep the cops off of her?
Supposedly on the advice of her attorney.
I see.
Stephan says, yeah, probably. What you said, that was to keep the cops off of her, or cuffs off of her. So obviously Stephan is asking, is Jennifer doing this mental hospital routine just to avoid being arrested? Chris says supposedly on the advice of her attorney. So is Jennifer's attorney telling her?
Yeah, so let's just go. We're nearly on to the next bit anyway.
Go check into a mental hospital. Is that what they told her back then?
Did you guys ever get the silver Lincoln back?
Oh, no, we don't expect to see that until.
Yeah, this is when we come back to talking about the poodle ambulance.
This is the trial.
Okay. And I assume none of the belongings that were left were able to be retrieved either, huh?
So when he said that, let's see.
Into a mental hospital. Is that what they told her back then?
Did you guys ever get the silver Lincoln back?
Oh, no, we don't expect to see that until. This is the trial.
Okay. And I assume
So then he says, and I assume that none of my belongings that were left were ever able to be retrieved, huh? Now, does he mean his blow-up doll? I mean, maybe he wants it in prison. Maybe he's thinking, maybe I can have it in prison. I mean, he knows what was in that house, in his room. So you'd think you'd be mortified, really, wouldn't you? Thinking, oh, God, they've probably found this or they've probably found that. If you had those kind of things in there, you'd be mortified, absolutely mortified. But he doesn't care. He's calm. He's collected. Remember, he said in one of his other calls, he feels serene, calm. He's let Jesus take the wheel.
The belongings that were left were able to be retrieved either, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, the police had the gun.
Yeah, remember the gun? There was a gun in his drawer. And Chris says, the police have the gun, so that can be released to me.
So that can be released to me.
And sorry, I just wanted to add to remember, because Chris had said in one of the earlier interviews that he thought Stephan might have come to get a gun from his house to delete himself. But Stephan had a gun. He had a gun with him at Jen's. It was in the drawer in that bedroom. So, he already had a gun. He did, and bullets. He didn't need a gun.
Of course, the phone I let you use, So they said they would release that to me. So I got to see if I can get that.
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, I didn't even really use it, so.
So Stephan says, did you guys ever get the silver Lincoln back? Now, you know, that's the Lincoln where Stephan was custody that Wednesday, February.
Let's go to the next bit of the phone call.
Orange County to Osceola County. All that video and audio, somebody got a hold of, and it's out on the internet with YouTube.
Wow.
So again, so do you remember, he says, by the way, the body camera, the camera in the sheriff deputy's car, we watched that. I've got that video, the actual video straight from the police. And I'm going to upload that again. I've uploaded it once, but it's quite a long time ago. I'm going to re-upload it. And this was Stephan, do you remember when he was in the car going to the prison with that nice deputy who was chatting to him and had a cough, and he was taking cough lozenges and asking if he was okay, and Stephan was whinging that he'd lowered his core temperature while he was in the prison, and he'd only had a toilet roll as a pillow, and you know, he was really having a good whinge about the conditions in the prison, and we all felt really sorry for him, didn't we? Not. So now Chris is saying, yeah, someone's got a hold of it. I found it on the internet with YouTube. You know, remember he says he never watches any of these things. Never watches any of them, but I think Chris watches everything. May even be watching this. Chris, you're delusional. I'm sorry. I do feel for you and Debbie, but, you know, you're both delusional over your son. So, yeah, I found it on the internet with YouTube. Lots of YouTubers have played it because it was freely available by a Freedom of Information Act. So, you know, again, it wasn't leaked. Nobody got a hold of it in the sense of, you know, legally or wrongly. It was obtained by the Freedom of Information Act.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So these YouTubers, these amateur sleuths, you know, who have now decided to make it their life's work to try to uncover the real Stephan Stearns. And of course, they're drilling down, you know, to the whole family and making quite a circus of the whole thing.
Hi, Angel. So, yeah, now Chris is really angry. I think you can hear that in his words, in his voice. You could hear he's really angry. And what he's saying here, this is for the benefit of YouTubers like me, but especially Blunder, because she was actually mentioned by name. So these YouTubers, these amateur sleuths, have now decided to make it their life's work. Well, don't flatter yourself, Chris. It's not our life's work. We've got other cases that we report on as well. But it's part of the case, isn't it? It's an important case. You know, we're talking about a little girl's life here. And not only that, being abused for years before. But, you know, why doesn't Chris say to him, well, you know, it has attracted a lot of attention because what you did was terrible. Why doesn't he say that? But it doesn't, does he? It's like the YouTubers, these amateur sleuths, they've decided to make it their life's work, like there's something wrong with them. You know, like there's something wrong with them, but, you know, they're just reporting. If Stephan wouldn't have done what he'd done, they wouldn't be reporting on it, would they? And as I say, don't make it, you know, don't flatter yourself. Unfortunately, there are lots of other cases that we have to report on as well. So he says they're drilling down through the whole family and making quite a circus of the whole thing. Again, it's not the YouTubers that are making a circus of it. They're reporting on facts. They're reporting, there's nothing, well, certainly nothing that I ever say about this case that is not true. And there's, as far as I know, as far as Plunder's concerned, there's nothing she says that is not true. She reports on the documents that she gets. She reports on the, you know, the videos that she gets from the police, official facts. She's reporting on facts. She's not making a circus out of it. He's the one that made a circus out of it in the first place by doing what he did. Just unbelievable.
That entire video is on YouTube. The entire conversation you had with that deputy.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure we talked about music most of the time.
Now, they did discuss music, but, you know, he talked, they didn't talk like loads, but a lot of what they talked about was his conditions, wasn't it? That he was upset that it was too cold and he had to use a loo roll for a pillow. So you can say Stephan's probably a little bit shocked about that. So he'll be thinking back. The thing is, every single and after the trials, don't forget the trials haven't come up yet, and we've already had quite a lot of information out. But after the trials and the hopeful, convictions, it'll be like a free-for-all for the information from Stephan Stearns. Look at the Delphi case now. Now the trial's over and he's been found guilty. All the interview videos coming out for him. I think the reason they didn't put the videos out for him before was this voice thing. They had to get to the trial. They didn't want him to, they didn't want his voice, to people hearing his voice to prejudice the trial even more than they felt it had already been prejudiced just by the fact everyone knew it was him.
Yes. Oh, yeah. She used that. One of these people, Blunder or somebody,
True crime
YouTuber, used that information to dig up information about when your mom and I had our issues 20, 30 years ago, and brought that up. Her clickbait headline said, $3,700 lawsuit, some creditor suing it. So, they're just taking everything and everything and trying to make something of it when nothing exists.
Well, it does exist, because if it didn't exist, it couldn't be reported on, could it? Again, public records. These were the divorce papers. I don't know. I haven't actually seen them or read them, but apparently Plunder found them. Now, I sort of understanding a point, he might be a bit sort of like annoyed, thinking that's, he hasn't murdered anyone as far as we know. So why is his private life and her private life being brought up? I do understand that. I literally do. But it's wrong to say they're not making it up. They're public records that are there, and if somebody goes to the trouble to dig for them, they're there. They're facts. They're not lies. They're not clickbait. They're facts. And unfortunately, like I think even Plunder says, all of us really, there's not many of us, if you've ever been through a divorce, if you've ever, had some sort of if you've ever had any interaction with the police or with the courts, or whatever, it's likely to be a matter of public record. And if somebody wanted to go to the trouble of finding it, it's there to be found.
But supposedly, calling you mama's boy and what have you. So it's quite a circus. I don't watch any of it. People just tell me about it. I don't bother with it because it's all bullshit.
Well, hey, I am a mama's boy anyway. I've never been ashamed of that.
I am a mama's boy anyway. I've never been ashamed of that. And it's fair enough, to be honest.
Yeah. But I'm
So Chris, he starts talking about YouTubers and Blunder. That cracked me up. Anyway, Chris is like, by the way, the body camera, the camera in the sheriff.
Oh, I just want to stop here because this photo made me feel sick. Because that's Stephan, I presume, there. Look at the size of him. Look at the size of him compared to Madeline. It actually made me go cold, that photo. Cold. Because she looked so tiny and petite. And don't forget, he's been abusing her since she was 8 years old. And he just looks massive, like a massive giant. And it's just horrible, horrible, horrible to see that. See how little she looks, how massive he looks, and think about, what he was doing to her. Horrible man. Horrible, horrible man. Anyway. Let me just fast forward it a little bit to the next. Oh, because she talks for quite a while here. Yeah. Go back to where it comes to the phone call.
That Stephan took, and in no way am I blaming his mom for anything that happened either.
I'm hoping that this conversation obviously somebody in the county jail is selling this information. So I'm waiting to see if these conversations surface, because as far as I know, this is supposed to be private conversation. Obviously, the jail can monitor it, but it's not supposed to be released.
I've got to say, as much as I think Plunder's really good at videos, this going up and down is making me go dizzy. But anyway.
To the public.
And they will be, supposedly a redacted version of my arrest report was leaked to the public as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm not sure who's leaking all this stuff, or what sort of effect that has on all the proceedings.
This is a high-profile case, and so somebody in there is looking to make a buck.
Yeah, well, I imagine this probably taints the whole process.
Anyway, Chris is saying, I hope that this conversation, this obviously somebody in the county jail is selling this information. No, not true. Anyway.
He'd love it. Oh yeah, he's thinking it'll take the proceedings. So this is Stephan in the recent court hearing. So you notice he's shaved all his hair off now. He's shaved his hair off. He's much more well groomed, let's say, than he was before he went into prison, to be honest. He probably has a shower more often now than he did, because I presume he's in isolation. I don't know, but he didn't have many showers when he was outside of prison, did he? But presumably he has more showers now. He certainly looks better groomed than he did before. And this was him in this recent court hearing to try and get the videos, all the information that they found on his phone, taken out of the evidence as being inadmissible, but I don't think he was successful in that. Right, let's go forward to the next bit.
YouTubers.
Yeah. So who knows what's going to happen with that, but so I told you where the watch was. In addition to that, I found your wedding band when we were cleaning out the storage.
Okay.
So you found their wedding band when they were clearing out the storage. More likely stole it, I think. Hi, Tracy. Probably stole that wedding band with the thought to sell it. He was stealing his parents' things and selling them.
That's in a black ring box on the shelf above my desk.
I think we found that. Yeah.
Yeah, they've already found that. Chris probably thought, what's he doing with our wedding ring, or whoever's wedding ring it was? He stole that. He stole that ring. And now he's saying, oh, I found it when I was clearing out storage. Cojones. He stole that, and now he's telling him where it is, but they'd already found it. God, he's a bad... And they still don't seem to acknowledge what a bad person he is.
You found that?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I just want to let you know that was found. I'm not totally sure where my family ring is.
I have it.
Oh, you have it? Okay. So you found that?
It was on the shelf.
It was on the shelf. Okay. I thought it might have been, but I wasn't super sure.
So the family ring as well. So I bet they found a load of things when they went through, apart from the blow-up doll and the wedding ring and the God knows what. I bet there were all sorts of things they found in there. Because Stephan, he's a thief. He's a thief. He's a creeping, there's this expression which, I don't want to offend anyone, but there's an expression, a creeping Jesus, somebody who creeps around the house and does things and you never realize they're stood behind you or what they're doing. That's what Stephan is. And Nosferatu is like, you wouldn't want him in your house. You could never be sure what he was doing. He even said, didn't he, on one of them calls that sometimes he wanders around the house in the middle of the night and everything. Oh my God, the thought of having, and he drugs them. That's what he does. He probably drugged his parents at some point. He drugs people, drugs the people in the house so they don't wake up. And then off he goes, wandering around, taking his little videos, abusing children or doing whatever he wants to do. He is a ghoul, isn't he? He's like this ghoul, wandering around, stealing things, Oh, he's actually giving me the shivers thinking about it. If he could get out of that prison cell, he'd be doing it in prison. He'd probably be drugging the prison guards and then going out and roaming around the prison in the night.
Yeah. What about the Rollies?
Yeah, I've never had that. It was given to you, and I never had possession of it.
Huh? Yeah. But you do what? So Chris is asking about the Rolex or the Rolly, he said, but I've never had that. And yeah, it was given to you. I've never had possession of it. Of course he has. So probably it's disappeared from Chris's possession, and Chris now is just assuming that Stephan took it because of all the other things he's found. Stephan's like a magpie, isn't he? Goes around the house taking anything of value.
Well, then your mother did something with it, but we have to figure out where she stuck it.
Yeah, unless it was sold while we were still in Summerport.
Unless it was sold while we were still in Summerport. Well, either it was or it wasn't. So what he means is he sold it. Then they're going to start blaming Debbie for everything because Debbie is a Fruit Loop and she's losing her shit daily. And, you know, her mental state, I expect, is pretty bad, to be honest. So she's going to get the blame for everything. Maybe your mother did something with it, Chris says. We have to figure out where she stuck it. And then he says, unless it was sold while we were still in Summerport. I think that means basically that Stephan sold it. He knows exactly where it is. If he could get some money off it, he sold it. Definitely. He is definitely, you know, he's the prime suspect for everything.
No, it was here at the house. It was here. Yeah. I mean, it was, yeah, it was here. I seen it earlier. Well, I seen it in 2023. But anyway, doesn't matter.
I never had it.
So I told you where the watch was. And
So Stefano, I never had it. Yeah, he did have it. He did have it. 100% he had it. Anyway, let's go to the next bit of the call. So it's not that I don't like Plunder. I just, otherwise we'd be here all day. If we're listening to her commentary and my commentary, it's just too much.
seen it. Anyway, he saw it earlier. He must have seen it. He must have seen it in 2023. Stephan's still like, I never had it. Chris is like, it doesn't matter.
What, so I finally got the commissary information. So you need some boxer shorts?
Yeah, definitely. I've been going commando this entire time.
Just seen him in his boxer shorts there. I just got PTSD about him. Oh my God, revolting, repulsive. That poor little girl. Oh God, do you need some boxer shorts? Yeah, definitely. I've been going commando this whole time. Oh my God. I think I might have to have a glass of wine actually, because I'm just like feel sick. So I'm thinking, have I got any wine? Have I got any wine? I might have to go out off and get some. What size? Small? No, I'm joking there. I'm joking, but I'm not really, but I sort of am. So yeah, it's been going commando all this time. That's a nice thought, isn't it?
What size? Large, extra large?
I think just large would probably do. I mean, whatever will fit a 36 waist.
Yeah.
36. No way he's 36. He's 38 at least. Extra large. That's what you need, Stephan. You know, you're just fooling. Oh, unless he's lost weight in prison, but he's not been there that long then. So no way he's 36. I think he'd be 38. So, yeah. He's mad if he asks for large, because he needs extra large because he needs to be comfy. So it's like, I can't believe I'm having this conversation about Stephan Stern's boxer shorts, but I think I definitely have got PTSD.
Do they have the ability to wash and stuff?
I'm sorry?
Do they have the ability to wash this stuff?
Yeah, I believe they collect laundry and do washing like once a week or so. I think from what I'm not sure. But,
it gives you a couple pairs.
Now, actually, this is his recent court appearance. Looks like he's lost a bit of weight. Definitely looks better groomed there than he did before, didn't he? So I don't know. Maybe they make him have a shower in there.
And you need socks?
Yeah, I'll probably need that. In the meantime, I was going to hold off on making any, like extraneous orders for commissary and whatnot until we find out more.
So he switched.
Yeah, he always says that to his dad. Oh, I'm not going to order this and I'm not going to order that. And then his dad puts money in and it disappears and he orders loads of stuff, loads of sweets and stuff. Let's go to the next bit of the phone call.
But, so yeah, it's going to be towards the end of this month. I guess before or after my birthday, probably. But,
Oh, it brings his birthday into it.
And supposedly the trial's supposed to be May 14th.
Oh, I hadn't heard that, but I guess you might know more than I do.
Well, and again, following mainstream media only, whatever they have in the paper.
Well, they've got better sources than I do because I'm pretty much, in the dark most of the time here.
Yeah, so again, I don't follow anything but mainstream media because everything else is just bullshit.
Yeah.
People making a circus of it.
So he keeps saying he only follows mainstream media, but he knows all about the YouTube channels and what they say and what they do. I think Chris probably spends 90% of his time watching all the YouTube channels. And then he says he doesn't, but he does. And the thing is, Chris, I understand what you say. You shouldn't watch, you can watch, but you shouldn't take notice of YouTube channels who don't provide any evidence for what they say. I don't like that. Don't like YouTube channels or any TikTokers or whatever coming on and just making things up, of course. I don't, as you know, don't go with conspiracy theories. But, some people like Plunder, she's talking about facts. She's talking about documents. She's not making it up. And I don't make it up. And he may have even watched my YouTube, mightn't he, for all I know. But I'm just a tiny YouTube channel. But, he's probably watched most of the bigger ones. And, yeah, the thing is, if someone provides documents and evidence, you can't say that it's bullshit.
Yeah. But, so
Stephan says, I'm not sure exactly how long I'm going to be here. So I did want to mention that too, that my first mandatory court appearance that cannot be waived will be at the end of this month, sometime between the 26th and the 28th. And Chris is like, supposedly I thought it was the 24th of April. Stephan says it could be then too. I got kind of like a rough estimate from one of the attorneys that's kind of associated with the case, but not really the
Right,
public
just what I
documents
told you. I want
discussed.
to look, see Jen on this picture. We've not really seen Jen dressed up, and like that. So she, I think when Jen got together with Stephan, I think it was a very toxic relationship from all sides. Madeline obviously came off the worst in the whole thing, but I don't think Stephan was good for Jen. I don't think Jen was good for Stephan. It was like a perfect storm, wasn't it? You've got two very sort of unstable people coming together, and poor little Madeline, she was right in the middle of it all, and she got the worst suffering from it. But you can see that Jen, she wasn't always, that sort of look that she looks like she's looking after herself, then she's making the best of herself. Was this before she met Stephan? I think Stephan is a master manipulator personally, and she wouldn't have even known she was being manipulated. Everyone thought he was a nice person, didn't they?
And he doesn't want to, of course, discuss his faults in his marriage. I understand that. I wouldn't want to discuss mine either. That's why I put the onus on Stephan for basically
that. So if we needed to ration the calls or anything like that, we could do it.
Yeah.
No, here, this is where he says we've just put $100 into that account. Oh, maybe he's put it in while they're actually talking. Sorry, I'm trying to find the exact point. Yeah, maybe he's literally, yeah, here we go. So Stephan says also these phone calls, they're 21 cents for the first minute and 21 cents for every minute after that. So with a 15-minute, so the 15-minute limit, so it's $3.15 per phone call. Now, I think Chris has, so there was $45 in there when this call started, 45 and a bit. And I think Chris puts the money in, the $100 during the
For the
phone
first
call.
minute and 21 cents for every minute after that with a 15-minute limit. So it's about $3.15 per phone call. If we
Okay, well, I just put $100 into that account.
Okay, perfect. That should.
No, I haven't said that. Chris says he's out, didn't he? He said he was out. So he said, I just put $100 into that account. Perfect. That should last quite a while, Dad. I just wanted to make sure you knew that. So if I needed to ration the calls or anything, we could do it. Now, if he's saying it's $3 a call, well, he had $45 left. So that lasts quite a long time, doesn't it? But I don't know how many calls it. But I think he's ringing other people. No doubt he is ringing other people, possibly his lawyer included. But I wonder if he hasn't got some of them little fangirls hanging off him, you know. Right, I've just got to pause just 1 sec. I'll be back in. Okay, I'm back. I just had to get a glass of wine. Just a little bit, just because this is, you know, it's just like crackers, isn't it? And it is Saturday. Okay, so let's carry on with this rubbish.
Lasts quite a while there. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that. So if we needed to ration the calls or anything like that, we could do it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into our personal lives conversations because I don't trust the system.
Yeah, so Chris is wising up now, isn't he? He doesn't want, not only doesn't want to talk about the case, he doesn't want to talk about anything personal, you know, money, whatever. I mean, they've got to talk about something, you know, he's got to have some conversation with Stephan. And they've got to discuss things like the commissary and, but I bet they're at a point now where he's frightened to say anything, you know, because he just doesn't know what will get out. Which is a shame in a way, because it's not, you know, I don't know what, you know, I do at the end of the day, I'm just sort of thinking about if you got to that age, that advanced age, and then suddenly you're confronted with this situation with your son. I mean, what can they do? I mean, I totally understand why they wouldn't just cut him off, because you can't, you know, he is their son at the end of the day. But I really do not understand how they make so many excuses for him. That's what I don't understand. You know, you should be encouraging him to tell the truth. Why are they so keen to blame Jen and Jen's family as well? Didn't the mother, remember, she called them all a load of bitches? You know, it's like, that's just nasty, isn't it? They don't know what happened. Just like we don't know, because we weren't there, they weren't there. They don't know Jen did anything or didn't do anything. They don't know with Stephan yet. But the one thing they do know with Stephan is he had all those photos and videos on his phone. That's a fact. Can't be refuted. They can take it out of the evidence if they like, but they're still there. Everybody knows.
People keeping it confidential, so I want to keep this, you know, as banal as possible.
Anyway, Stephan's like, also, these phone calls, they're 21 cents.
No, not. no. It's been quiet. I mean,
So finally, Stephan gets round to asking, and how have you been? Because, of course, as always, it's all about him. It's always all about him. It's all about him. It's not even about Madeline, is it? Look, there's a picture of Jen with Stephan probably in the earlier days. And did, you know, of course, the big question is, did Jen know? I don't think she did know, but I do think she's stupid.
So I want to keep this as banal as possible. He says banal there. That means so lacking in originality as banal there. That means so lacking in originality.
no. It's been quiet. I mean, I really wish they would drop the shoe on all of this stuff, and attention and emphasis would be shifted to her family.
So that's what he says now. What does he mean by that? If it's like as if he knows something else, maybe there is something else. So Stephan finally says, and how have you been? Has anyone been bothering you or anything? And Chris says, oh no, it's been quiet. I really wish they would drop the shoe on Jen. Now, is this because he knows something about Jen? Or is that just wishful thinking? I wish they would drop the shoe on Jen, and all of this stuff, all of this attention and emphasis would be shifted to her family. Do you know? What does he mean by that? Is this because of something Stephan's told him? What's her family got to do with it? You know, he does realise that these videos were on Stephan's phone. You know, nothing was found on Jen's phone, as far as we know. I mean, it may end up that things do come out that Jen was involved, and no one will be more keener than me at that time to, throw everything I've got at Jen. But to me, I'll wait until that happens, because as far as I know so far, as far as anyone knows, there is nothing to suggest that Jen Soto was involved in the abuse of Madeline, except for being daft and sending her off to, or worse than that, negligent, whatever you want to call it. But, one thing that is true so far, there is no evidence of Jen being involved with the abuse or any of her family. So, but Chris is determined that it's Jen and her family, despite the photos and videos that were found on Stephan's phone. So, have other things been found on the family's phone? Is there more? Has someone else in her family been abusing Madeline? Only time will tell that. But Chris seems convinced. But I honestly think that's sort of wishful thinking, really, on his part. And maybe, he's going to, when the trial comes up and things come out, that's going to be really hard for Chris and Debbie as well, because they will have to face the truth then. They can pretend now. They're like, oh, I wish this stuff would come out. Maybe there's no stuff to come out. But when the trial comes, we'll find out, won't we?
It's been quiet. I mean, I really wish they would drop the shoe on all of this stuff, and attention and emphasis would be shifted to her family, because as far as we're concerned, we know that she's responsible. To what degree, we don't know, but I don't believe you killed her.
We know that she's responsible. To what degree, we don't know, but I don't believe you killed her, so. The denial is incredible, isn't it? I've come to realise that over these last 6 months, really, the cases that we've covered, denial is palpable, isn't it? And it's really quite scary how much people can deny what's right in front of their faces. Somebody is clearly guilty. And then they're found guilty even sometimes, like in the Delphi case, and people still can't accept it. That's how powerful denial is. But So Chris still doesn't believe that Stephan killed Madeline.
So,
No, that's good because, you know, it's one of the few people who do, but, you know that I would never have wanted that for her.
yeah.
And,
I would never have wanted that for her. No, it could well be that he killed her by accident. You know, we're not clear, are we, yet? It could have been an accident. I'm sure, you know, probably likely didn't mean to kill her, because that's something I've said from the beginning. I think he was having too good a time, you know, to deliberately kill her because he was enjoying her. But did she suddenly say she wasn't doing that anymore? Did he give her too much sleeping, whatever, that night? You know, he'd obviously been drugging her, because a lot of those videos and photos that the police collected off his phone, they said that they showed the person, which is Madeline, was unconscious. So that night, did he go wrong with the dose? That's something I've thought about a lot. But then they say that she was strangled. You know, so that's another, you know, you don't strangle someone by accident. But did he just lose his temper?
it broke me. It absolutely broke me.
So we believe her family.
Yeah, it broke me. It absolutely broke me. Again, it's all about him, isn't it? Didn't do Madeline much good either, Stephan. You know, it might have broken you, but it killed Madeline. And, you know, even if it was an accident, it's still your fault, because you should never have been in that position with Madeline. And then Chris goes on to say, we believe her family is involved in this cover-up. Why? Why do you believe that? What evidence, Chris, do you have to believe her family is involved in the cover-up? Somebody could just say you were involved in it without evidence. You wouldn't like it. Where's the evidence? God, he's talking about YouTubers making things up and bullshit and everything. He's making things up all the time with no evidence.
Is involved in this and cover up. So we'll just see how all this plays out.
Well, I'm not sure that really any one person is specifically responsible. It's probably a combination of factors that led to it, but it certainly shattered me.
Again. So Chris says, we'll just see how all this plays out. And Stephan says, oh, I'm not really sure that any one person is specifically responsible. It's probably a combination of factors that led to it. But it certainly shattered me. Brings it back to him again. Shattered me. Didn't do Madeline much good either, Stephan, believe it or not.
I mean, if you thought I had PTSD before, well, buckle up, you know.
Oh my God, if you thought I had PTSD before, well, buckle up. God, he is so just all about him. Feel sorry for him, isn't he? Not one word about Madeline, all about him. If you thought I had PTSD before, well, buckle up, you know. Well, listen, you haven't got the PTSD I've got for after seeing your button mushroom a few times.
Yeah.
I've never felt anything like that before.
I have never felt anything like that before. It was horrible. Ooh, what, you know, he's unbelievable, this guy. Just unbelievable.
It was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope the truth comes out at some point.
Well,
yeah, Stephan doesn't want the truth to come out, because the truth is, I think, likely that, you know, the truth, it's not that anybody else did it, only him.
yeah.
But Stephan is acting like he's really concerned about his parents.
So there's that picture again. Tiny little Madeline and this great big giant behind her who's been abusing her all that time. That photo literally gives me the creeps. Poor girl. All right, let's go to the next bit of the call. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have never felt anything like that before. It was horrible. It was more horrible for Madeline, Stephan. Much more. Much more horrible for Madeline.
It was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope the truth comes out at some point.
Well, yeah.
But Stephan is acting like he's really concerned about his parents here. He's like, and how have you been? Has anyone been bothering you or anything? Chris is like, no, it's been quiet. I really wish they would drop the shoe on Jen and all this stuff, all this attention.
A good friend of mine, whose name I won't mention, has been my spiritual mentor advisor since this all came down. Bought me a very nice Bible, so I'm doing Bible study every night, and we have our morning walks and talks. So,
No, it is sad because they're having to deal with it the best they can. So you need a blooming spiritual advisor. When you know, let me just go back. So yeah, Chris says, a good friend of mine, whose name I won't mention, has been my spiritual mentor and advisor since this all came about. He bought me a very nice Bible, so I'm doing Bible study every night, and we have our morning walks and talks. You know, Chris does need, and Debbie, they need help, but I think this spiritual advisor should try and coax them round to the fact of just acknowledging what their son has done.
has been my spiritual mentor advisor since this all came down. Bought me a very nice Bible, so I'm doing Bible study every night, and we have our morning walks and talks. So,
Yep, and I've been reading the Bible that they've been giving me here, and praying for her, and I've been praying for you guys a lot too.
Yeah, and I've been reading the Bible. So he's been reading the Bible that they've given him there. I've been praying for her. Oh, he nearly mentioned Madeline, but he didn't even mention her name. I mean, when he says I've been praying for her, does he mean Madeline or does he mean Jen? He can't get her name out of it. He can't say her name. And I've been praying for you guys a lot too. Yeah, I'll bet. Praying for himself more than anything.
I also wanted to mention that, I know you guys get in fights a lot and kind of resent each other a lot of the times, but I wanted just to tell you guys, be good to each other.
Oh my God. Oh my God. See, this is how he was with Jen and Madeline.
I also wanted to mention that, I know you guys get in fights a lot and
he likes to present himself as the mediator, doesn't he? He said he was the go-to person for Madeline. He was the person that would get in between them when they fought. He's the mediator. He's doing this with his parents. This is his, this is what he does. I know you guys get in fights a lot and kind of resent each other. Well, they've stuck together all these years. Any married couple that's been together as long as they've been together will have issues or in the past. So you kind of resent each other a lot of the times. But I wanted to tell you guys, be good to each other. I tell you, I think if that was me, I would turn around to him and say, don't take advice from a child abuser and murderer. Thank you on my relationship, son. Do you know what I mean? How dare he? How dare he try and present this picture of, be good to it. You guys be good to each other. He's like the person in the middle, calming the troubled waters like he did with Jen and Madeline. Oh my God. Let's see what Chris says. Bet he doesn't say anything.
We resent each other a lot of the times, but I wanted just to tell you guys, be good to each other.
we don't resent each other. We
Good. We don't. Good. He stood up to him a little bit. We don't resent each other. We have compassionate discussions. Oh God. I tell you what, if Chris didn't think he was being recorded, he probably would have gone mad.
we have compassionate discussions.
That was maybe a poor choice of words, but I know you guys try to get on each other's nerves every now and then, and I just
If anything, this has made us stronger. We're both joined with our faith, and we're supportive of one another. We talk about all of this periodically. I refuse to listen to any of the bullshit.
Yeah, I bet you'd be, your son's in prison accused of murdering a 13-year-old girl and abusing her for 5, 6 years, which is you probably know even Chris must realise that's likely to be true because all the videos and that were on his phone. And now he's trying to give you advice on how to keep a stable relationship with his mom. Oh, be good to each other. Oh my God. God, I'd be going mad. I'll tell you what, I'd be going mental.
Stuff that's out there, I always say, nobody looks mainstream media. I'll accept that, but nothing else.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, there's a lot of rumor mills out there.
But Stephan keeps bringing it back. So he's saying that. And the thing is, even if he watches the mainstream media, then even the mainstream media knows that Stephan is likely to be guilty. But see, he keeps bringing it back again, Stephan. But just be good to each other. That's about the 4th time he said that. Like he's like Jesus giving advice or something. Oh, because you won't have me to be there to be a buffer anymore. So he's saying he's like the scapegoat in that he's going to bring this up in his defense, probably blame it on his parents. So I'll tell you what, Debbie and Chris, you want to watch out for this, because when it comes to his defense, they're probably going to say that you and Debbie had a terrible relationship and he was the buffer. He's not there to be a buffer anymore. Oh, God, and that's just what he tried to say about Jen and Madeline.
Good to each other because, you won't have me there to kind of be a buffer anymore.
Oh.
And I'm not sure.
Well, try not to make that sound more than what it is, because it's not any more than that.
Yeah, Chris is really annoyed with him, but he wants to say it to him, but he can't because he's not sure who's listening. Try not to make that sound like any more than it is, son, because it's not any more than that. And Stephan, I'm the buffer, oh, feel sorry for me. And Chris, he's annoyed, but he doesn't want to say it as clear as he really wants to say it, because he doesn't want YouTubers picking up on it and, talking bullshit. But it's not bullshit. This is fact. This is what your son's saying, Chris. These are facts.
We have a flare-ups and then we quickly move on.
Of course, I just
but we've been very very supportive of one another, and we just know that we're getting through this, and we're putting our faith in God.
Okay.
And we hope you
Glad to hear that.
we hope you finding the same.
And then he brings it up again. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. I've been worrying about you guys. You've been in my prayers and in my thoughts. Oh, he's like he's Jesus or something, like the pastor. He's like the one, sorting everybody's problems out, not the abuser and the murderer.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I worried about you guys. I've been worrying about you guys, so you've been in my prayers and in my thoughts.
I appreciate that. And you as well. After mother told me this afternoon, she came out of the bedroom the other morning with a question and called out for you, and then realized, it's not here.
Now, I'm a little bit worried about Debbie because, she's a little bit Fruit Loopy anyway. And then when he said this, it set off a warning bell in my head that, because something like this can start off in a person as, because Debbie's not young. Is it going to start her off with like dementia or something? Because this is a massive shock, isn't it? Finding out Golden Ball's son has done these things, or may have done these things, has been charged with doing these things. And Chris says, oh, I appreciate that, and you as well. And matter of fact, your mother told me this afternoon, she came out of her bedroom with a question and she called out for you, like, he's not here. That set off, because at my mum had dementia, that straight away set off alarm bells for me, wondering, is Debbie, she's going to suffer mentally. As much as she puts on all that bravado, she's going to suffer mentally knowing, dealing with the fact of what's happening to her son.
Question and called out for you, and then realized, it's not here.
You did, or she
did? She did.
She did?
Yeah, and it's like Stefan's not even listening when his dad's talking, because it was clearly that he said that she did, the mother did. And then she goes, you did or she did? And Chris went, she did. You know, obviously he's like, come on, for God's sake, are you even listening to me? Stephan, she did. God, you know, it's these conversations are just weird. It's like Stefan's not listening to anything Chris is saying unless it's about his watch and his mouse droids and his toys and his what have you. And then he doesn't really, and then he's just sort of playing this sort of Jesus pastor mode, like, and being all sniffy about what everybody else is doing, as if he's not really. It's like he's detaching. Or he's starting to remind me a bit of Laurie Vallow. You know, this complete detachment from what they've done and what the reason is they're there. You know, and blaming everybody else and detaching from it. He's starting to remind me a bit of good old Laurie Vallow. It's just.
You as well. That's your mother told me this afternoon. She came out of her bedroom the other morning with a question and called out for you, and then realized, duh, he's not here.
You did or she
She
did?
He did.
She did?
Yeah. I go, hello, not here.
Yeah.
You know, so she slipped a little there mentally.
Yeah.
I bet she is slipping mentally. Yeah, she will be.
Yeah. For a long time, I kept expecting to wake up and find out this was all a nightmare.
See how he brings it straight back to him again. So he goes, oh, she's slipping a little bit mentally. And Stephan, yeah, same. For a long time, I kept expecting to wake up to find out this is all a nightmare. Bring it back to him again. It's all about him. Doesn't care that his mother's slipping mentally. Doesn't care what his father's going through. You know, he's just all about him. And every time he brings it back to him.
Oh, believe me, this is all very, very surreal for us.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm looking.
Thank you for using IC Solutions.
So this is all. So and then Chris is trying to bring it back. Is this just some sort of narcissist family or something? You know. So Chris started off talking about the mother, that she's come out of the room to ask Stephan a question, then realised he's not there. He said she's slipping mentally. Stephan brought it back to him, saying, oh, yeah, I keep waking up thinking it's a nightmare. Now, Chris is trying to bring it back. Oh, believe me, this has all been very surreal for us. I think I'm looking, and we'll see where, you know, it's like they're all trying. Where's Madeline? The person that's been most difficult for are Madeline, and to be honest, for Jen as well. They're so dismissive of Jen. But let's presume for a minute that Jen really did not know. She's lost her only daughter. She's got to live with the fact that she sent her off to bed with Stephan because she didn't realise what Stephan was. She's got to live with all that. Nobody cares. This family only care about themselves. They don't care about Madeline, who is the victim, and anyone else. Everyone else are bitches. It's all their fault. They don't even care about each other, though. They're all competing with how difficult it's been for them.
Goodbye.
Anyway, Chris switches and says, so anyway, we think we can send you the Bible, but there's also a Bible we can buy online, but let's see if we can get the Bible to you.
Just
Chris
go
is
to
talking
that
about a
passage.
good friend of him, you know, all that enmity
Oh, I
between
don't want to see
Maddie
his
and Jen, and
please.
what a mess. But anyway, Chris is saying, oh, believe me, this has all been very surreal for us.
Go to the.
And then not act? Does he promise and not fulfill? So God will fulfill the justice, trying to see through the lies and the subterfuge. And it's horrible, again, what Stephan's doing to his parents. He's taking advantage of his dad here. He got $100 for the phone account. He's getting underwear, maybe socks. He's misleading his dad, I believe, because Chris, way back at this point, no wonder they believed in Stephan's innocence. Even though Chris was the more of the strong one in a way where Chris would say, if Stephan's lips are moving, he's lying. So Chris kind of knew more than Deborah. And I think they were kind of getting into it at this point because Deborah refused to even entertain the thought that Stephan could be guilty. Even though as she was faced with more evidence, I believe she started believing, okay, he really is guilty.
Yeah.
It might have taken her longer to come to that realization than Chris, but Chris still no. The
I think
person,
that's it as far as the phone call's
I
concerned.
love Florida. At least they give us public records. Some of these
Yeah.
other places they don't. But
Yeah, see, this is it. The Florida are very open with their records, and that's why people have been being able to get this information. Anyone can get it. I don't think they charge for I've never had to pay anything yet anyway for anything. I'm going to try and get hold of that phone call just so that I can play it in one sort of hit for people who just like listening to the call. It'd be like about a 15-minute call. Sometimes people like listening without the commentary. But it's very illuminating, isn't it, to get an insight into the family dynamics here. It's the most selfish family I've ever known. You know, so, you know, even we knew it from the other calls. You know, Deborah said right from the start, she said that Madeline was, what did you call her, precocious. Jen was, what did you say? She was bisexual, bipolar, and buy something, and a drug addict. That's right, that's what she had to say about Jen in the beginning. Bisexual, bipolar, and a drug addict. She's all Stephan's friends were jealous of him, she said, didn't she? What the other daft? Oh, she said that it was Madeline's time. It was her time to go. It wasn't her fucking time to go. She was 13. It was not her time to go. Her time was taken away from her, stolen from her by your son, Deborah Stearns. Your son, it wasn't her time to go. You know, things that make us really angry. And Chris as well, although he's perhaps a little bit less delusional than Deborah, but he's still saying, we don't believe you did it. We think the family's got everything to do it. We wish that it would all come out about Jen. But he doesn't know what it is. Yeah, blaming YouTubers for having the gall, you know, to come out with public records that are public in Florida. So there you go, Chris, you don't know. These are not leaks. These are documents in the public view. That's just the way it is. You could go on and try and find something out about plunder in Florida if she lives in Florida. I don't know where she lives. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got the right to do that in Florida. It doesn't matter if it's right or it's wrong. It is not illegal to do it, and it is not leaking. It is, you know, freedom of information. So, God, what a family, what a family. So, yeah, and the person who hardly ever gets mentioned is Madeline. And when Stephan Stearns mentioned her once, he called her or she, didn't even mention her name. Just, well, now these were a long time ago, these calls. So it may well be the calls are completely different now, if they're even still doing calls. You know, Chris, what did he say? He said, I want to keep these calls banal as possible. He doesn't want to give out public information. Oh, then you've got, sorry, I just can't help but laugh because it's ridiculous. Stephan Stearns sat in prison, charged with the abuse over several years and the murder of a 13-year-old girl, telling his parents to be good to each other because he's not there to be a buffer anymore. Oh my God, what an insufferable little entitled prick he is, isn't he? And how Chris kept his temper then, I don't know, because I literally would have turned around to him and said, look, don't give me lessons on what we should do when you're sat in prison charged with what you're charged with and the things that were found on your phone. Why isn't Chris saying that? Why isn't Chris saying that? Why is he so convinced it's all Jennifer's fault or her family's fault? And little goody two-shoes, Golden Balls, his son, even though he's got all that on his phone, can't be him. Good God. Good God. And you've been in his bedroom, you've seen what he has in his bedroom. I expect the blow-up doll was not the worst of it, that what they found in that disgusting room of his, with all his little toys, you know, because he literally is 13 in his head. And he's nearly 40 years, in fact, he may be 40 now. He's nearly 40 years old. I mean, what's he doing? We heard those calls were what he was asking for, the books he was asking for and things. And most of them were children's books or horror books. You know, oh, God, that poor girl, what she had to put up with from him. And that picture of him, he's like a great big lumbering giant. And as I say, I unfortunately have seen every part of his body, and he's not a pretty sight at all. You know what I mean? Didn't look clean, he wasn't, never heard of depilation. He's just a revolting person, and she had to put up with that. I hope she was unconscious most of the time, because I hope she didn't have to know what was going on. I hope she didn't know what was happening to her. Bless her. The thought of her knowing what was happening to her. Oh. Anyway, now I've got really angry, and I'm going to go off and have another glass of wine, because it is Saturday after all. I hope you all enjoy your days, your afternoons, your evenings. Thank you. I think it was Annie sent me bought me a coffee, didn't she? That was right at the beginning. Thank you, Annie, for the coffee. I can't find it to bring it back up, unfortunately. But thank you so much. And now, please, I'm asking a big please to everyone. Please like this video on your way out. It's free. And if you're not subscribed, please remember to subscribe. That is also free. I'll see you really soon in the next video. Rest in peace, Madeline. I hope you are in a better place. I absolutely hope, because you won't want to be back there. That's for sure. That's the only thing. But you could have escaped it. You should have been able to escape that. Anyway, I'll see you really soon in the next video. Love you all. Thank you for watching. And until I see you again, of course, may your God go with you. Let's put bye.